Benjamin, so great to see you. How are you and how are things going? You're a busy guy, huh?
Yeah. Things are great. It's good to be busy, especially right now. It's great to be busy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, things are good.
Well, you're talking to a true fan of Virgin River. I was so excited to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you because I got to tell you, I've already watched the whole season six. Like,
Oh, good.
oh yeah, I when I get these in my inbox, I don't care how busy I am, I make time to finish. So I finished it.
Great.
Holy mackerel! What Brady goes through this season. I mean, I don't
I
want to give
know.
away too much, but I want to start off by asking you because we're in season six now. Thank you. We're,
Mhm.
we're going to get a season seven.
Yeah.
Started doing this show, Benjamin. Did you ever think in a million years that it was going to be what it became?
No, in fact, there's a lot of us who didn't expect it would go past one season. Honestly, we all thought it was going to be kind of one and done, and that's not necessarily a knock on the show. It's just we
Yeah,
didn't really know how it would resonate with audiences because, to be honest, it's not doing anything new. It wasn't necessarily on brand for Netflix at the time. It was something that even was a departure from the books a little bit.
yeah.
My character especially. But we all got along. We already had a great time. And then before season one was even released, we got picked up for season two, and we were all like, "Whoa, what's happening?"
Yeah, we're on to
Um,
something here. Yeah,
yeah, and subsequent seasons, every single season, continuing on now to season seven, we've been picked up before the previous season has been released, which is kind of unheard of. It's especially
right.
in my career, I've never experienced that before. So that's a big vote of confidence from Netflix, and of course the we do pretty well with the numbers, and our
Oh
fan
yeah,
base is so wonderful, and yeah, so it was a pleasant surprise.
yeah. It's the longest running series on Netflix, isn't it? I think.
We officially, with season seven,
Yeah.
become the longest running series on Netflix. Yeah,
Congratulations! It's
thank
so
you.
exciting. Okay, I'm always jealous when I watch that show because I just want to move to a Virgin River place. Now I know obviously it's shot
Right.
in BC, so we
Mhm.
take pride as a Canadian. I take pride in
Yes,
it. But my God, do you ever kind of you're on set and do you ever kind of look around going, "This is magnificent."
all the time. Yeah, all the time we get there, and we're. I always say Virgin River is the star of the show. I
Hmm.
mean, no offense to Alex and Martin who play Mal and Jack,
Yeah.
but it is, it's the connective tissue that really sews this sense of community together, which is, I think, the reason why our show is so successful is that we have this um, we have this beautiful, beautiful place where it's not just the scenery, but it's also the connection between characters that make
Yeah.
it so beautiful. Because you could see in my story arc early in the first two seasons, it doesn't always look so beautiful. Like when my character comes on, we purposely had,
Yes.
darker kind of coloring, and there was not as beautiful locations. So it kind of, I think, it accentuates the beauty of the backdrop by these wonderful connections you see on camera.
100%. I want to ask you about your story arc because yes, as when we first got to know Brady, like look, he was going through some stuff. He wasn't the most
Hmm.
pleasant guy. He was
No.
kind of the villain. And
Yeah.
now look at where you've gone, like and how we now embrace him and we feel for him and especially in season 6 what you go through, Benjamin, my
Yeah.
God. My heart really went out with him, especially that cliffhanger ending. Again,
I
keeping my
know.
mouth closed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
oh my God, like it
Yeah.
was a bit of a roller coaster this season. How you must be such a thrill or a gift for you as an actor to have been able to take him where he's gone throughout the 6 seasons.
You're absolutely right. It's been a gift because a redemption arc is something as an actor, for me personally, is um, it's the meat of any overall arc of a character to be able to take someone who's broken and uh, estranged from the community, um, and to slowly bring him to life. And it's almost like the seasons that we see. We start, especially in Canada, we see
Mm.
this frozen. Um, Tundra that slowly blossoms in spring and turns into this beautiful summer. And I think that that's the potential that lies in everyone. I'm a
Yeah.
strong believer that even the most what's the good word for it? Even the most difficult to understand characters in our lives aren't necessarily all bad. There's good in
100%.
everyone.
Yeah.
And I did a play when I was 16 about homeless people in Toronto, and my character had Down syndrome and he was living on the streets. And so to research it, I went and lived on the streets in Toronto for two nights and
Wow.
got to know some of the characters down there, and it really made me look at homelessness in a completely different light, but
Wow.
also made me look at everyone in a different light. It allowed me to, I think, and something that I've kind of etched out in my career is taking characters that seemingly are shut down and on the wrong side of the tracks, and to
Mm.
slowly start to rehabilitate them back into their true inner self, for me, that's what Brady was always there. He was
Yeah.
always this scared little child who never really had the upbringing that other people did. So he had all
Right.
these borders and walls. And through the love that he found in Bree, you start to see him soften and open up. And I get to kind of fully play out that arc so that, people like yourself it resonates with, and people kind of root for him.
Yeah.
Whereas in season one, I think everyone was like, this guy needs to go.
Absolutely. Especially like, when you're kind of antagonistic with the main star,
Yeah.
obviously. And yeah, obviously. But no, I love that he's changed. Okay, you brought up Brie, we all whatever, but I don't know how to put this, but there's a great scene you have in this season on a pool table. Care to discuss?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay,
I think that
go for
yeah,
it, man.
I think that scene is a couple seasons in the making.
Yes.
Since the breakup, there's been this kind of tension that's left over because these two have such a magnetic quality to them.
Yeah.
And when I was crafting the performance with Lark, I was very careful to make it different than Brady's relationship with Bree.
Yeah.
And I hope that comes across. He's
Oh,
still
it really
falling in
does.
love.
It really does.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He's still falling for Lark, but it's a different kind of love. It's a love out of wanting to become the person that actually Bree wants him to be.
Yeah.
And so in this journey that he's going on, he's even though he's falling for a new person, he's never really closed that off. And we have the wonderful scene at the end, which we won't talk about, but
Yeah.
it's where you kind of see all of that, and it kind of comes to a forefront. But the scene on the table, on the pool table, was something that actually was written in the bedroom. And we were starting the season off. We had an Oscar watch party with the whole cast, and we were watching the Oscars, and we were talking about that scene. And I said, you know what? It just feels too predictable when it's in the bedroom. It feels like it's
Yeah.
almost too contrived. And I was like, it would be great if it was somewhere in Jack's bar
Yeah.
and it was like more like just frenetic and like unforeseen and then spur of the moment. It makes you kind of forgive the characters because both of them are essentially, they're cheating.
Yes.
Um, and so I was like, what about the pool table? And so I had actually pitched it, and I think it makes it really kind of iconic in a way that we don't normally see. There's also this element of that pool table's not going anywhere. It's
Right.
a central fixture in the most central
Yeah.
set in all of Virgin River. And so that scene not only is, I hope, powerful and I go through a I become it's actors gymnastics for me because I go 15 different emotions all in a matter of 2 minutes.
For sure.
Um, But because it's always there, now it has a reference point so that, while I'm in the bar, a quick glance over to the pool table now means something, and so for me, it was a multi-layered storytelling, and luckily the showrunner and the writers really they thought it was a great idea
Yeah, it
too.
worked.
And
It worked. It
pretty
was
great.
good. It was a good episode, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
By now I think that all of you must be like family. When you wrap, you're kind of like, "Ooh, thank God we're back for another season because we all get to see each other again." It
Yeah.
so long that you get to work with this cast. It must be wonderful because it doesn't happen a lot for a lot of actors to have that kind of relationship with their co-stars.
No, no, and such a big cast too.
Yes.
And that's what's interesting is that, we have 11 series regulars, which is, usually there's six. And
Yeah.
so, um, and we all went through something that, like everyone in 2020, we went through the pandemic on set together. We were one of the first shows back filming. And so, although we formed this family, just like, everyone did in 2020, we now had this family that was like, even on set, was sectioned off into pods and the most ridiculous things that needed to
Of
happen
course.
at the time, but
Of course.
very much felt like we were sectioned off from each other, so that when that all went away, it became even more of a collective family. And yeah, so the relationships on screen mimic some of those off screen, and but like guys like me and Mike and Colin, who played Preacher, and
Yeah.
Mark and Mike, we just we get along really well. So none of that's that's a lot of acting
Oh,
that
I'm sure.
happens.
I can see the camaraderie. It's not faked. Yeah, by
Yeah,
now you're like I said, like family. And also to
yeah,
have the fact that you've got some veteran actors on set too, like Tim Matheson and Annette O'Toole. Like, oh my God, Annette, like, oh my God, she's so good because she just
yeah.
drives you crazy, and as a
Right.
fan. But do you
She's like
think
a Karen, right?
yeah,
With the
exactly, exactly.
modern day, yeah.
And how Doc forgives her sometimes I don't get, but whatever, it's all good.
Mm.
But I wonder, like, as an actor yourself, like, do you take from watching them because they've been in the business for so long? Like, do you learn from these people?
100%. I think I went to a theater school called National Theater School of Canada, and one of the best things I learned there is you never stop learning.
Yeah.
As an actor, you're constantly learning, and I learned from Marcia Gay Harden when I was on Code Black, an Oscar winner,
Yes.
and when you're that close to someone, when you're literally feet away from them, and you see the smallest detail, and the camera catches it all too. But you're witness to years and years and decades of experience,
Mm,
and as I you kind of have to be a sponge, and you just soak it all up, and you learn the little tricks and the little things that they do. But most of all, you learn how to carry yourself on set. All these people came There's a reason why they're still working late into their life, is
yeah.
because they carry themselves with professional but also warmth and welcoming. So it's yeah, lots to learn.
Nice stuff. Okay, you're also a Hallmark guy, and you've got a wonderful new Christmas film out for the season, Christmas with the
Hmm.
Sings.
Yeah,
It's kind of more, it's a well, totally different from Brady, obviously, but
yeah.
a little bit of physical comedy and fun. You must
Hmm.
have had a blast doing that one.
I did, and you know what? It's great you mentioned physical comedy, because I was watching Jim Carrey '90s movies and all
Yeah.
the way through it, because I thought it was very, I wanted to bring physicality and comedy to it. The actual script itself didn't have much of that in there. I built it in through improv, through just working. Uh, Basically copying a lot of Jim Carrey's antics, and watching his, over the top performances in these, funny, goofy movies, but you root for him and it works. And it's like you don't necessarily feel like he's overacting. It just feels like this character. And so I wanted to explore this character who was goofy, who was kind of you could kind of bounce off of these very stubborn characters
Yeah,
well, and I think it has tones of Meet the Parents in there,
yeah,
and
for
and
sure.
so
Yeah.
and so uh and so that was all really fun, and I love those movies, and it was great to explore like more of a This one definitely verges on the comedy side of a rom-com, and so that was a lot of fun for me to play with.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I think people will really enjoy it. It's nice to have those kind of those fun movies at this time of the year,
Yeah,
especially the
yeah,
ones. Yeah, 100%.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. You're a dad now, and like how does that change, or how has that changed you, and or maybe in terms of also what you choose for roles and things when you get the other opportunities to do other things? It must be lovely to be a girl dad.
Yes, it is. It's instant depth, like I think you have an emotional well that you go to as an actor, and then that becomes, 10 times deeper when you have kids because
Yeah,
everything, you know, you have this emotional connection to these innocent people, and you're reliving some of your childhood through them too. I find that like you're like, oh yeah, I remember that doing that, but I never would have thought of that without raising kids,
for sure.
and so it's an amazing gift. And when I had my daughter, I did a movie called Romance and Style, which was about body inclusivity and positive body imaging. And for me, like it does factor into the jobs I take. If I'm out of town, it better be a good job. So there's like if I have to, I just got back actually. From shooting for a month and a half out of town. Literally, I just got back 2 days ago. And so it's really, really, really difficult to go away and do those
Sure.
movies. Because you come back and you see your kids like actually have grown since you've gone.
Yeah,
Um, but so it does affect your career that way too. But I wouldn't trade. I think the best things in life are earned through hard work, and parenting is a perfect example of that.
for sure.
You work so hard to raise these kids, but the reward from it is infinite.
100%. Yeah, I know. I got two sons. They're grown, but yeah,
Yeah,
it take big pride in what they've accomplished and everything. So for sure, well,
exactly.
enjoy it. Enjoy it. Listen, I know you have another interview, but thank you so much for your time. It really was a pleasure for me to talk to you, and I can't wait for people to see season 6 because I'm already
Awesome.
chomping for 7. So have you been told when you're going to start shooting that yet? Have they decided?
Sometime mid spring, I think we'll be
Right.
back at it. So I know I just went and visited Netflix, and then also the writers' room at Netflix in LA, and they've got storyboards everywhere and
Can't
character
wait.
breakdowns. So they're into
Yeah.
the thick of it. They're, I think, halfway or almost done writing season 7. So
Oh, yay.
it's in the
Okay,
cooker.
fantastic.
It's in the cooker.
All
So
right. Well, we'll
we'll be done
talk to you
soon.
next year for season 7.
Of
Okay. Promise
course.
me that. But thank you
Of
so much.
course.
I think people are going to be really happy with what happens with Brady this season. My God, like kudos to you. You did a fantastic job, as you always do. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And happy holidays to you and your family. They're coming up.
Thanks. Thanks, Bonnie.
Okay.
Happy holidays. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Take care. Okay. Bye bye. Thanks so much. Bye.